with a lot of these things, you'll see them doing slightly fancier things than they'll probably have done before in their lives, like going to Lakai and going to Mexico. I think this is to the best of my judgment from my experience. I'm pretty sure, very pretty sure, like 99% sure, what they did was covered by the show. So if you see a camera on them and what they're doing has a camera on them, then that situation, that moment, maybe that entire trip was billed to the show because the show made money off of that moment, and so they got reimbursed for that moment. So a lot of
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, May 15th, 2023. Please continue to bear with me as I am still dealing with some stuff with my eye. It is getting better, and I'm hoping that next week I'll be able to be back as everything starts to clear up. So let's dive into today's topic, and we'll just continue to enjoy backgrounds of fish and rain while we discuss the sister wives, and we'll have some more content about the Duggars coming up here soon. Gwendlyn Brown just uploaded a video about the stuff that they do on the show. She's going back in time to watch the very first season of Sister Wives. We've talked a little bit about the backstory of the Apostolic United Brethren and sort of the stuff that they haven't shown on television. And I think Gwendlyn's latest revelation should help give you guys and viewers an understanding that don't know a lot about reality television, just how fake things are. And one thing I did over the weekend to kind of, prove some of this was to dig through some of the blogs that existed way back in the early days when the show first started. There was a couple bloggers. There was a Sister Wives blog, and then there was another one called Cynical Jinx, and Cynical Jinx was on both blogs. It changed from my Sister Wives blog to Cynical Jinx, and then she walked away from it in 2019. But there's a lot of information on all of these blogs, and I was digging through that yesterday and found some stuff about Robyn that I think might interest you because it definitely relates to what Gwendlyn is saying right here, that what they show you on the show is paid for by the show and ultimately staged. So let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you please do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Make sure to click the bell if you want to get notified anytime I go live or new content loads. If you have something to say, leave a comment and share this video with your friends. All right, so Gwendlyn has been doing these videos lately, and she's going through all the different seasons to talk about what she thinks about the show and her reaction. And in many ways, a lot of this are home videos, but they're home videos in a sense that they're real things that happen to the family, but they are manufactured scenes. So they know ahead of time what they're going to do. Sometimes cameras might just follow them if something were to happen, like if they end up in the ER, like when Truly got sick. That was definitely not something that was planned. But other things that happen, vacations and trips, going out to eat, designing clothes, going clothes shopping, all of that is from the show, and it puts them in a scenario where the situations are staged and manipulated. Almost every single reality show that doesn't follow a family, you know that shows are fake. I mean, most people know that there's a ton that goes behind the scenes of all of these shows like The Bachelor and these different like contest shows where producers are manipulating and encouraging and trying to get the most drama out of the cast as possible. Some of the shows will deny them sleep, load them up with alcohol, put them into scenarios that would make people otherwise normal and healthy and clear of mind make bad decisions, which makes for good TV. With the Sister Wives, what I think they did was they put them in unusual situations that would be topical for the show, but it doesn't necessarily paint the accurate picture of who the family is. The family never actually addresses a lot of their core beliefs, and that was completely left off of the show. And the church didn't want them to talk about the show. I went back looking through old blogs, and there was actually people from the AUB that were ex-members, and then those that were actually still in, that were telling in the comments, like, yeah, the church doesn't want them to talk about the show. They don't want the exposure. They don't agree with this. So they couldn't talk about the church. They couldn't really talk about the faith because of the church. Weird, right? Like, if you're just this progressive church and you're just like so benign and doing all the great things, why wouldn't you want them to talk about you? Well, that's probably because they weren't doing benign things, but I digress. So Gwendlyn goes into detail about how everything is reimbursed and staged. Check it out.
Time if you'll see the parents going out, or if you see them, honestly, even with a fancy new outfit, sometimes that outfit is completely covered by the show, which makes it a lot easier for us to have these more fun trips. Like in the future, there's like a trip to Alaska. I'm pretty sure a lot of that was covered by the show, because I don't think with the spending habits we had as a family and the like poor the broke mentality that we had, I don't think that we would have been able to do that.
Every year that a show is made, they go in and they have an idea of what they want to cover. And as Gwendlyn explains, if they go on trips, those are covered by the show. She explained in the very beginning of this video that the reason why they do that is because if it's going to make them money, they will cover it as a part of the show, right? And then they are able to do things and create content. So it's like, you're going to help us make content. As a result, we're going to go on this trip. We're going to go out to dinner. We're going to go have a workout. We're going to hire personal trainers. Another thing they did was start businesses. So a lot of the things that they said that they were doing on the show in their real life were actually content that they were making for the show. A lot of fans had wondered, like, they would introduce a job. So in one season, they all decide they're going to become real estate agents. That was, again, content for the show. Cody never turned into a real estate agent. Cody never became a real estate mogul. Janelle passed the real estate exam and Christine failed. Janelle, if you go into her real estate information in Nevada, she sold less than, I think, 15 homes total. So this was not something that she was doing aggressively. This was not something that she was doing as a career. It was something that, I'm sure she would get a listing here and there and sell it. And she hasn't transferred her real estate agent's license or sat for the license in Arizona. So a lot of this is for show. Again, another thing that they did on the show was started a business. So they started things like My Sister Wives Closet, which was, again, a storyline that they created for the show. They have to go through all those investor meetings. Even with all of the investor situations that happened, they still managed to launch the business. But if you noticed, once they moved from Nevada to Arizona, she all but basically shut down her shop. The shop was registered in Nevada. She registered it in Arizona, but again, it was a storyline for the show. By the time they moved to Flagstaff, which again was for the show, so a lot of discussion has been made about why did they move from Arizona or from Nevada to Flagstaff when Cody had said that this is where he wanted to settle. The wives said that this is where they wanted to settle. I found an old interview from Robyn about Nevada on that blog, and where they all answered questions. Okay, the interview used to be on TLC's website, and it was asking the wives like what they thought of the move to Vegas and whether or not this move was going to be permanent. And it was also revealed before even this investigation went off the hook with the police in Utah that Cody was already telling people that he wanted to move to Las Vegas. And then on top of that, Christine was found in a 2008 video saying that they were totally prepared to take on the state of Utah, and they were going to sue them, and that they were going to get all of this law decriminalized. So all of this was planned well ahead of time, and it was part of their goal with the show. But Robyn said in the interview Mary said that when they asked her if is it going to be permanent, Mary said, let's put it this way. I thought our move to Wyoming and Utah 5 years ago was permanent. There's just no telling what's in store for us down the road. In the meantime, however, I plan on living like it's permanent, and I'm really enjoying it. And Robyn said, Las Vegas better be permanent. I want to settle and put down some roots and make a nest for our family, especially now that I am pregnant. So when Robyn and them moved to Vegas back in, the very beginning parts of the show, they wanted it to be permanent. But they ended up moving because I found on another blog that in the end of season 12, TLC had plans to cancel the show. So In Touch put out an article that basically said that due to really low ratings, TLC had let the Browns know that season 12 would be their last season. However, in season 13, the show continued, and Cody then decided that they were going to move the family. So in season 12, they're totally settled in Las Vegas. There's not a ton of discussion about moving. And then suddenly, season 12 ends. Season 13, they make the move to Flagstaff, with Flagstaff flirtation starting mid-season, and they make the decision to move at the end of season 13. So season 12 was a horrible season, and they make the decision to move for season 13, thus saving the show so that they have more content for the season. Moves had to do with keeping the show relevant and keeping viewers interested. Okay? The plans were, once they got to Flagstaff, was Cody was going to see if he could get some of the construction covered by people wanting to be on the show. They financed all of the homes that they had in Las Vegas, and they got mortgages for those. But when it came to Flagstaff, their houses hadn't sold yet, so they were going to need to get creative to build, and it was a lot more expensive. I think I remember if I told you that Cody's neighbor let me know that he was approaching contractors allegedly and asking them if they would be willing to trade specific work on the houses that he wanted to build for exposure on the show. So again, it would have been content for the show. He had designed a one house idea for the show. It never was going to happen. The houses it wasn't zoned for one house. It was zoned for 4 homes. They would have had to done complete different rezoning. It was all, again, for the show. All right. So as I was digging through all of this stuff, I ended up finding some old tweets from Robyn. So now that you understand, they are making decisions of what can we do to keep the show relevant. Let's have a baby. Oh, babies. Oh, my daughters are having babies. Let's film these babies. So McKelty comes back to have her kids on the show. Maddie comes back to have her kids on the show. Weddings. Weddings make great content, except Logan doesn't want to get married on the show, so his wasn't filmed. And Leon and Audrey have no plans to return to the show, so they will not be seen again. So now you've got all these family members splitting up, which at first is why people thought this was for show, because they've done this in the past. They've made changes in the family. They've made decisions to do different things for the show that have completely upended their lives. But then again, it makes for good content. One of the big things about Robyn has been that she hasn't had a job the entire time she's been on the show. And so fans in the early days were clapping back at her about that and how she didn't have a show. And it was back in, 2013, 2014, that Robyn was on Twitter answering questions. And I did get this from the blog that they had back in the day. So someone basically said to her that she was using the family and that she didn't contribute anything for the show. Or she didn't contribute and she didn't have a job. And she said, Donna, are you judging me based on rules of the reality show that we cannot talk about the money we made on the show? From the moment I joined the family, she said, I joined this family. I've supported myself financially. We couldn't talk about that on the show. And then she said, I also helped paid for the mortgage of the big house back in Utah, and I cannot apologize for my sensitivity. It's who I am. So her explanation was that she was working the entire time because she was on the show. And the money she was making to support herself came from the show, but they can't talk about that because it's on the show. So they have to come up with all these other ideas of how they're going to make money and how they're going to have jobs to make it look like they're not just living off the show. So Robyn admits, I was financially supporting myself because I was on the show and I was making money by being on the show. Basically, Robyn, when she joined the family, got a job. It also was revealed in these blogs that they had already gotten the show before they even found Robyn. So there was speculation way back in the early days that Robyn was picked by Cody as content for adding a new wife to the show so that they would have something to start the show with. I'm not kidding. And people always suspected that Robyn was an actress. So Robyn says, I joined the show. I've always been able to financially support myself because of the show. So then because they don't want you to know that they're just living off the money from the show, they have to pretend like they have jobs. So they have to start businesses like My Sister Wives Closet. They pretend they're going to open a gym, which never happens. It's all for show. All of it's fake. And that's why Janelle was telling people years ago that once the show was over, they would be bankrupt because they don't have any other revenue streams that are coming in from this, and they aren't getting brand deals because brands don't want to work with them and businesses don't want to be affiliated with them because of the illegal lifestyle. So Robyn was working on the show. That was her job. I hope this helps you guys understand that what you're seeing on TV are staged bits of their lives and they're not real. So it's very easy for them to go up on the show and pretend like they're doing all these things. And yes, in theory, they did sell some jewelry, but they abandoned that. Kind of like Robyn saying that she wanted to have another kid. And in one episode, she says she has a kid that says with curly hair and she needs to bring the spirit baby down. They never revisited that discussion ever again. Again, content for the show. Or becoming real estate agents, content for the show. Or all of the vacations, content for the show. We don't actually see any of their real life because they're only seeing what they decide to film, which is content for a show. So all of this is fake. I hope this helps you understand reality television. Are you shocked to hear this and that Robyn did have a job this whole time? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.